Outlaws. Boy. So it starts off with this dude named Nacho. Showing like a grown older version. He's like visiting a jail. We'll get back to that in a minute. So as a little kid, he grows up with his family or whatever like that. He has like bullies. These guys always picking on him for no reason and shit. So one day he goes over to this arcade spot and eventually ends up working there, helping out this dude. Then this couple comes in, a dude named Zarkos and this other chick named Tara. She's playing video games with him and whatnot. She's basically eyeing him down. This other dude named Zeke is sitting at the top and they're like, yo, what's up with this dude? Apparently he's their drug dealer. So one day they end up coming back to the arcade. Zarkos ends up leaving with the Zeke dude and Tara goes over to Nacho. So you getting these vibes like she really likes Nacho. So basically she takes him in the bathroom and starts jerking him off. Apparently he was a virgin at that time. So she tells him the next day meet up at this back alley spot if he wants to like smoke weed and chill out and shit. So he meets up with Tara and Zarko as they goes down this little hill or whatever like that. And he's got like a group of other niggas that be rocking with him. The thing is they're poor, they're a bunch of outlaws. And they basically go around robbing niggas, doing like petty crimes and shit. Nacho didn't know that at first. He really kind of wasn't with it, but he's fucking with Tara, so he's with it. So he was talking about robbing an arcade store, but they was like, look, man, just don't hurt the old man or whatever like that. They end up changing their mind on the arcade after they found out he works there. So they end up setting up to rob this old lady, so they have the talking and having a conversation, whatever like that. And while Nacho and Tara gets her to go to the store, Zarkos and the other two boys going around the back. They steal a bunch of silver and jewelry, all type of shit. So they got enough money to go to the club, buy some drugs, some roofies to be exact. So they end up going to this brothel, but it's like dressed up to be disguised as a bar. And Zarkos basically used some money to pay for Nacho to have this hooker. So he goes along with it, goes to the room, but he really ain't trying to do nothing. So as he's about to leave, this red and green light comes on. So whenever that light comes on, nobody can leave the room because it lets you know that police or detectives that just walked into the bar. Some slick shit set up for, back in 1977. I think this took place in Spain and Barcelona or Goria, whatever the name of this country is. It was a smaller town country inside of Barcelona or Spain or something like that. So anyway, detectives come through there, they talk a bunch of shit with the bosses or whatever like that. But they ain't starting no beef unless they see some unnecessary shit. So the hooker's talking to Nacho about a girl he liked to see, tells her to close her eyes and picture or whatever like that. But she's basically getting him in the mood so she can smash, and he ends up doing that. His first time was with a prostitute. There you have it. The next day they get the gang together, they talk about robbing a bank or attempting to. But instead they just want to catch somebody coming out the bank. So they got the car around the side, Nacho's chilling on the bench, he's looking for the right person to get. And he basically lures this guy to the side of the street and pretending to ask for directions. And this guy's holding up like some type of big wallet that's keeping clutched to him, so it's probably important. Z slides around with the car to try to grab it, but he ends up missing it and the guy ends up falling on his face. So while all these people are coming and checking on the guy, Nacho slips over and grabs the wallet and dips all the way down the back alley. Apparently that wallet had a ridiculous amount of money in it. Split it up with the crew. Now Nacho, rolling with this crew doing all this mayhem, he's falling out of favor with his family. His mom worried about him coming all hours of the night. Him and his dad having beef. Him and his sister's still cool, but she kind of act like a goody two-shoes. She tries to. But Nacho know what she be doing when she be sneaking up boyfriends at the house. So the crew ends up going to this little club or whatever like that. Tara wants Nacho to dance, but Nacho can't dance for shit. They end up going outside to talk. Now Nacho was kind of getting mad because Tara was dancing with some dude. But then he asks his boys like, yo, isn't that Z's girl? They're like, hey man, you gotta ask her, man. It is what it is. So when Nacho and Tara get to talking, Tara was like, yeah, I was kind of pissed off that you smashed that hooker. He's like, how you know about that? She's like, man, come on, man. People talk. So you can tell she really feeling our man's Nacho, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I'm mad you smashed that mustache guy. She was like, yeah, that's different. I ain't want your first time to be with a hooker, though. I wanted to be with me. So now it gets to the point these guys are trying to step up to big-time robberies. But first there's this situation where they're like robbing pharmacies and whatnot. So basically the act is like Nacho goes up there to act like he's trying to get medication. Tara comes from behind and pretends like she's pregnant, acting like her water broke. And then the rest of the guys come in and do their thing, basically stealing all types of pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. And that was pretty much their stick for a while. Meanwhile, the cops are trying to figure out all these robberies, but they really can't pinpoint nothing because they ain't got no proof. Keep in mind, no cameras or nothing like that. This is back in the 1977, you know what I'm saying? But once again, it's a small town, people talk. So they end up going to this beach area later on because they got some cheese. And basically the pharmaceuticals they're going to try to sell, they're going to try to sell to some other people at this party. They say some French people there, some locals over there like that. Now Nacho really doesn't know French, but he helps out when it's far, talking to other people and shit. Now Guillermo is one of the dudes in the crew. He didn't think this shit was going to work. He didn't think they would pay that much for certain pharmaceuticals that they were trying to sell. Later on they end up finding this couple that's like, yeah, they'll buy the whole thing. Guillermo thought, they were kind of low-balling, but he's thinking to himself, well, these are kind of low grade, so shit, we're going to get what we can get out of them, I guess. Now, at a certain time in this party, Nacho and Tara end up looking for Z because they can't find him. Apparently, he was somewhere messing with some random chick. But at some point, they stop looking for him, and they end up going skinny dipping. Then Tara's like, fuck this shit. He takes Nacho into some back area or whatever like that, and they finally end up getting a smashing. Tara giving Nacho the business. The funny thing is, from the corner, Z ends up seeing the whole thing. So we like, is he jealous? Like, yo, what's good? So then we get the scene where Guillermo goes with one of his dudes and he goes with the couple and they're driving so they get to the spot so they can get the money. But before they get there, they end up going to this gas station. So the guy comes out, he pays him, fills up the gas or whatever like that. But the crazy thing is once the gas attendant goes back into the gas station spot, this nigga Guillermo tells his man to slide over in the driver's seat. He goes into the gas station and he stabs the dude in the back of his arm. I was like, what the fuck? And he basically tells him to take out that purse and robs the money. He gets the money back and gets a little bit extra. But the crazy thing about that is he should have just ended him right there because while he was walking back to his car, the dude came back with a shotgun, bust a hole straight through his stomach. I'm like, what? So they're trying to drive off. Guillermo's in there bleeding and shit. They have losing control around the wheel. He's swerving all over the place. Now, keep in mind, they're on like one of those little slants. Like they riding around this hill in the mountain, you know, where the guardrail's at, and they got those little cliffs over it. They end up swerving up the side of the road to avoid this big 18-wheeler, and then they end up falling off the damn cliff. Guillermo, Raphael, and the couple are all dead as shit. Well, the police come out there the next day. They find Raphael still alive somehow. But he's all fucked up and he ends up dying in a hospital the next day anyway. So basically they were all dead. Now the police thought they was going to catch the rest of the crew at the funeral, but the crew ain't stupid. They know they got to lay low. And so after a while they lay low, but basically they realized that, you know what I'm saying, all the money from the pills, whatever like that went to shit. So they're going to do a bank robbery for real this time. So Z's here and a couple dudes end up doing the robbery. You got the guy, his man that's his driver or whatever like that, and Nacho's out on the outside looking for the boys. Now it gets crazy because there's truckers on the other side of the street dropping off watermelons. On the other side of the street is a getaway car. Now, as the guy's dropping off watermelons at this grocery store, a police officer comes out the grocery store. Now, the policeman cannot see the getaway car, but he sees Nacho. Nacho's trying to play cool and shit. When the policeman turns around, he tries to notify the driver like, hey, yo. And he don't know what the fuck he talking about. So basically, everybody comes out after the robbery. Nacho hops in the car. So we think to ourselves, did the police officer even see the car? Well, apparently he did, because they was on the road for nothing but like 5 seconds. Next thing you see is 2 motorcycle police blasting at the windows. Everybody bucket shots, ain't nobody hitting nothing. Until they give Nacho a gun, he comes through, bucket 2 or 3 shots, and gets them all off the road. Now, we thought the police officer was dead. Turned out they were still alive. He did enough just to slow him down. And they basically escaped for now. So they basically go in this other spot and just lay low. Later in the morning, Z and Nacho have a one-on-one talk. And he kind of wants him to get out of his life. He's like, man, you got a family, you got a life to live. We don't have nothing to lose, you know what I'm saying? But Nacho's thinking to himself, is he really trying to protect him or is he trying to keep him away from terror? But Nacho, they basically like, fuck that, I'm ride or die. I'm hitting you to the end, you know what I'm saying? So the police get to a point where they think they're basically closer on their trail. They end up catching with this dude named Chino. Now, Chino's like the laid-back neighborhood junkie, kind of. They ain't get no information out of him right then and there, but they end up taking him down. He's gonna come up later. So it's been a while, they've been laying low. They gone to different spots over the last couple of days. And Nacho ends up going to Tara's real house, where she comes out looking totally different. Turns out she's got a sister and her mom too, but the place they live in is like the dirtiest of dirt, you know what I'm saying? But it's still a home. He's really trying to figure out what the relationship is. It's like, yo, what are we to each other, you know what I'm saying? And he really loves her, but he's like, yo, we in this crazy life too. It's just wild. But she knows he's willing to do anything to, you know, make sure she's good. So it gets to the point they lay low for a little bit, and then they decide they end up going back to their spot. You know, until the heat died down, you know what I'm saying? They all link up back at the spot, and they're trying to get this another robbery going. They got to get to this another bank, because they're pretty much low on cash. They only got about 4 heads right now. It's a 5-man job, though. So it's basically Nacho, Tara, Z, the other dude in the crew named Loco. And they end up recruiting Chino because he really wants to help out. He's like, yo, I got this, yo. Now, remember when I told you the cops already pressed Chino, right? How the fuck he get back on the streets? So this time they do the robbery. You got Loco, Nacho, and Z are the ones that go inside the bank. Tara's the lookout walking around, and Chino's the driver. So while this is going down, Chino's looking down. He's got this number that he can call. So while Tara's walking back and forth out of sight, Chino takes the time to try to get to this phone booth so he can probably call the police. Oh, snitch ass nigga. But he messed up when he ducked down because the coin took his money, the machine or whatever. So now he waits for another car to come through so he can sneak past this other car so he can go to this other building and try to use the phone. Like this little restaurant or whatever like that. So he gets to the phone, he starts calling the police. Oh, snitch ass Chino. The crazy thing is while they're trying to break into the safe, the owner's telling them the safe is timed. You have to wait at least 5 to 10 minutes. When they finally get it open, Tara looks around and finds out, hey, where the fuck is Chino at? She goes over across the store to find him and beats the shit out of him, snitching. While she's doing that, the boys are coming out with the money. They back at the car. They about to drive off. They like, hey, yo, where's Tara at? Tara sees him, but then the boys are behind him. Tara's like, yo, just go, get out of here. The boys are chasing them. It's a high-speed chase. They going crazy. Apparently, the call was made in enough time because they set up the border across this bridge. And on top of that, a freaking helicopter was chasing them. We were like, oh, boy, they about to be done. So they get to the bridge. The boys over there, they're like, oh, we can't cross this bridge. We got to cut around sides or something like that. Some car swerves them, and their cars that was a tree or whatever like that, they got over here on foot. The boys got the guns out, they shooting. Loco gets hit, he done deal daddy shit. Z ends up getting hit in his leg while Nacho's running. Nacho got grazed in his arm too. Z tells that nigga, yo, you gotta get out of here. Get out of here or I'm gonna kill you myself. Go. Basically, Nacho's running through the back, he's running through the woods. He ends up getting back to the house. The family's like, hey, yo, what happened to your arm? He's like, man, I got scratched riding off a motorbike. I'm like, father not falling for that shit. So while he was cleaning up in the bathroom, Nacho just broke down and told him everything. So his father was running around cleaning up the house, spreading stuff on the table. And I was thinking to myself, like, what is he doing? Next thing you know, the police show up at night, and he was going to make it seem like when he was talking to him, basically made it seem like, yeah, I was with my son. We was fishing all week. He had all this stuff set out around the house to make it seem like they weren't fishing. So it was like, all right, I see what he was doing. So while the one cop is trying to go upstairs to get Nacho out of bed for questioning or whatever like that, the other cop is talking to his dad. So the cops is basically convinced that Nacho had something to do with this stuff, but Dad gave him this convincing story about jail and whatnot. And what really clicked is when the officer looked at this picture, and it was a picture of his dad and some older dude. I guess that was his father. I guess he noticed him and realized something about it. And just on the strip of that, they stopped pursuing Nacho. They just let him go. Now, I'm not really sure what the significance was of the older guy in the picture, but I guess they came to the conclusion like, nah, we just gonna let Nacho go. So then we get to the scene at the beginning of the movie where Nacho's in his prison, and we're like, okay, who is he gonna go visit? Turns out he went to visit Z. We were like, yo, he didn't get killed over there by the bridge? Guess he turned himself in. So while they're having this conversation, we found out a lot of different things. First off, it's been about 25 years. He's been locked up for that long. We found out Nacho actually became a criminal defense lawyer. We found out Tara ended up dying 3 years ago. We found out Nacho was jealous of Z the whole time because of Tara, but it comes to find out, Z and Tara were actually brother and sister. Fuck. But Z said he didn't even find out till about like 7 years ago. What? Nacho said he was going to try his best to get him out because it's like, okay, apparently he's got some type of medical condition. He's going to die soon anyway. Z's like, fuck it, just go on and live your life. Do what you got to do, man. Then we get this one scene where Nacho's walking around the hood, and it takes him back when he's going to the bar. Now, this takes place a year after everything happened. After the cops and the shootout and all this stuff. All of a sudden he sees Tara working in there. It's like, oh shit. Like he hasn't seen Tara in a year since prior to the shooting and everything that happened. And the thing is, Tara used to always wear this bracelet because this bracelet her mom gave her. See, she's talking to her, whatever like that. He's like, yo, he's trying to meet up with her the very next day or whatever, some club or something like that. But the thing is, he's trying to score some drugs. So she gets her to do that. Now he slips it in her pocket, but she also slips the bracelet in his pocket. And then we see current day, he's held onto that bracelet ever since then, like to this very day. And that's basically how the movie ends as he's walking around the city. I'm like, wow, this joint was off the chain.